Let's turn the microphone up so they can hear us. Get your mic there. All right. Are there any public comments on agenda items? Jerry? Okay.
Anybody at home?
Okay, so we have, the first three resolutions on here are all tied together. Jay, would you please give us a brief optic of what that sewer phase one INA project entails before we get into the resolutions?
Yes, sure. We have, as has been explained previously, a very large I&I problem with the Hamlet collection system. I&I stands for inflow and infiltration. Inflow is stormwater that is purposely added to the sanitary sewer system. So that could be storm grates, right? Collection basins that are piped into the sanitary system. It could be roof leaders, you know, where the gutter comes down and the pipe disappears into a pipe in the ground. Those could be connected to the sewer system, a sanitary sewer system. It could be sump pumps, but water that's purposely put in. Now, 100 some odd years ago when the system was constructed, that was considered good practice because it cleaned the sewers out. Modern sewer plants need
Turbidity.
need poop, not water. Okay, so that's the first problem. The other I is infiltration. Infiltration is stormwater that gets into the system by accident. So damaged pipes, displaced joints, right? I mean, all this pipe was put in, it's either 4-foot or 6-foot pieces of pipe with bell and spigot joints, and the packing is gone and water can get in around the joints. Broken pipes, crushed pipes, any of those sorts of things. So we have a huge amount of I&I, like as much sewage as we're putting in on a bad rain, we're putting in that much or more clean water, which is was not a problem with the old plant because more water runs through. It was very, that plant was very low tech, more water, more dilution. It just all went down the river. Nobody noticed. The new plant has a big problem with that much clean water in it. And we now pay by the gallon. So it's a huge expense for the town. The resolution of that is to fix the pipes. What does that mean? For pipes that are in reasonably good shape, you line them from the inside. And basically you pull like a long sock through it that is saturated with resin, you inflate it and cure it, and now you've lined your old pipe with a brand new plastic pipe that will last for the next 100 years. There's a big point of that. The exact number of feet is in there, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
4,700 linear feet.
Right. Some pipes are too far gone to do that. Either they're completely crushed or they're so displaced that you can't pull the liner through them. In those cases, it's the old-fashioned way. You get a shovel out, you dig up the pipe, you put in new pipe. We have some of that in the contract. It's less. It's several hundred feet, if I remember correctly.
Approximately 500 feet.
Yep. And the third thing that is an issue is most of our manholes are brick. It's beautiful brickwork. It's in great shape, but like all brickwork, it's mostly cracks, right? So there are something like 400 manholes. I don't remember again the exact number. And we are going to be sealing a large number of them in the areas of concern. Now, stop me if I'm getting too detailed here.
Well, no, we need this for the record. So.
There are 4 main lines that lead to the sewer plant. Hold that thought. One of them services the East Village. Everything on the other side of the river comes together into a single pipe that passes under the river. I won't tell you exactly where in public. That is an inverted siphon. It's deep under the river. That whole system is in relatively good shape, mostly because it's so flat. There are three other main lines. One comes down out of Tuxedo Park because the front slope, if you will, if you go up the main road,
Right.
up into the park,
To the racetrack.
until you get past the racetrack and far enough up the hill where you can see down the other side, that all comes down this way. Remember that the Hamlet Sewer Plant was built as part of the park infrastructure originally. The other line comes down Mountain Road. And the third line comes down and services Jerry and all the people on
South side.
South side. I don't know what services the other south side where the apartments are at the beginning. That either goes down to Sloatsburg or it does whatever it does. There you go. They have their own
Where
plan.
the pool is there.
The three lines that come down the mountain are in worse shape, probably because they come down the mountain. So this project is mostly concentrating on the worst
This is phase
spots
one.
on phase one. Phase one should get us knocked down to where a couple things can happen. First of all, we won't be flushing money down the drain. And second of all, we will be able to finally take the old plant offline. The old plant has not been decommissioned because it's the overflow when we got a big storm. DEC wants that dealt with. They've given us some more leeway, especially because they know we're working on fixing things. So that's what this phase one is. It's going on all over the state and all over the country. There are no ribbon cuttings or exciting parties for fixing sewer lines. And so,
True.
it's, it's out of sight, out of mind until it becomes a problem.
Right.
We've reached that point. The old plant needs to be decommissioned, first of all, to get DEC sorted out. Second of all, the old plant needs to be decommissioned and removed so that the new plant can be expanded. The new plant was built to service the Hamlet, our collection system, and a portion of the Tuxedo Farms build. And it's enough to cover what was the original phase one, right? Before this latest version of the special permit and everything, there was going to be phased construction. It was enough for phase one. We're not doing phases anymore,
Yeah, we're going to the build out.
right? They're trying to build out build out wherever they can.
It has enough expansion room though.
There is room. It will be able to be built out to provide
4
more.
modules?
I don't know exactly
We're using
the
one
layout.
right now.
Right now, we're using one and we're barely putting enough product in it to use one. But there are,
We have plenty of fluid, we doesn't have enough product.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's the whole point of this phase one project is to knock that down. And then what needs to happen is the program of regular inspection and maintenance that all complex systems need and has been ignored since this plant was put in
Absolutely.
the ground.
So we can expect to go to a phase 2 that, so we're approximately is the end of 4,700 feet from the racetrack. Where does that end? If you're starting up the racetrack end. and you're
Well, I mean,
working
it's
your way
not
to-
just the racetrack,
Okay.
but I mean,
But I mean,
basically,
as the starting point.
the racetrack's a big part of it because there's so much groundwater flowing there. I've seen some of those pipes, I mean, we couldn't get through them, so not exactly sure how the sewage is getting past that, but I'm not gonna ask that question. So the 4,700 feet, we did a number of surveys. The town, Rob's guys pulled open every manhole and looked for flow. If it's the middle of the day and it's a residential area and it's running clear water, something's not right.
Right, exactly.
So by that, we were able to discover where the worst areas were. We let a contract that was based on some of the ARPA funds and we put cameras. They had their own camera, but we did a camera job and have records, which you guys are welcome to look at,
We know.
hours of video.
Smoke test too? Did you do that?
No, we didn't do that. We weren't looking for infiltration connections.
Okay.
We were looking for damage. So we've identified, excuse me, the worst areas, and that's where those numbers came from.
Okay.
It isn't a particular necessarily start here and work your way down.
Question, what do you project the percentage of reduction in I&I would be at the completion of phase one? If you're dealing with, say, we have a 100,000 gallon per day license, we're exceeding that, just say 200,000 gallons, 100,000 over. That's 100% more. So what do you think the reduction would look like after phase one? Do we have a projection, or do we?
Well,
An
we
idea.
believe, based on the surveys we've done so far, that dealing with the areas that have been identified will reduce almost 100% of the infiltration.
Okay. But that
We're
doesn't
not-
stop us from continuing to phase two, because it's a 100-year-old system.
It's a 100-year-old system.
Yeah.
It needs maintenance. It will not be as big a chunk of money. It will be something that we can do in reasonable
Right.
phasing. And
We just need to get back into DEC compliance.
we need to get the
And get
DEC
that old plant
compliance.
offline.
We need to get the old plant offline. And here's the other thing. We have it's not so much that we have 100,000 gallon a day license. That's our allotment of the capacity of the existing plant.
Gotcha.
So right now, our overage isn't a problem for the plant. If we keep doing it, it will be a problem because 100,000 gallons is X number of bedrooms that they won't be able to build.
Yeah, no,
Right.
absolutely, yeah.
But the other issue is, until we get the I&I under control, we have no headroom for new connections.
And for expansion.
For expansion of, and that's why the Hamlet load, regular load, was estimated to be about 50,000 gallons a day. The 100,000 is for headroom for future expansion.
Okay, so we need to get back to the headroom.
So we need to get,
Yeah.
we need to get some headroom.
Okay, so thank you for that
Jay.
explanation.
There's, you said that it's not necessarily a start point to a finish point, but we're not doing 4,700 linear feet out of the park. So we may have.
Not just the park.
I don't know, that's what I'm getting
Okay.
to. So we may have 1,000 linear feet out of the park, 1,000 linear feet on Mountain Road, 1,000 linear feet in East Village, wherever they deemed these are problem areas.
Right.
So it's broken up throughout.
Yes.
And the 32 manholes that are in here to be repaired, they're also throughout Tuxedo.
Yes.
Because from what I understand is the one over by the New York State Thruway is a mandatory. That has to be fixed almost immediately. So do we know if that one's on the list to be repaired?
I don't have specifics on the list. That would be, I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult. That would
No,
be a
you're not
better-
being difficult. I'm just
better-
asking
Better
questions.
question for Sean.
Because
and maybe
talking
Rob.
with Rob, that was if anything was done, that manhole has to get done.
In phase one.
Okay.
But also in phase one was where we had maps to.
So there's some unmapped areas?
Well, the maps we're going by are the village maps that are 120 years old, and they kind of ended at a point in the village. Now, we've gone and mapped past that. So we've mapped the complete thing, but that's not included in phase one. And that might have to be in addition to
Okay.
phase one to eliminate the.
So it's more like when you get in the ground to start doing these repairs, you may go more, let's call it towards the big lake than you would towards the front
Well,
gate or something.
it's not,
So the
it's
village is,
1,000 feet if that to complete the entire thing that wasn't mapped, give or take.
Okay.
So it's not a 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 foot thing, but if you do that, you eliminate everything in the village.
Okay.
and there also, I mean, phase one has been defined, but if we suddenly discover that there's a manhole that needs to be done,
Yeah.
it's our.
Yeah, that was
It's
what
our
was said,
phase.
right? That
We
one should
can-
probably put into this phase one because of the.
The camera company was, I forget their name at the moment. It escapes me, but they said that should be priority one, the one in the thruway. Now, we haven't gotten that far because with the one in the thruway, you kind of have to or want to inspect the sump that goes under the river. and they couldn't get their cameras through the sump to see between the catch basin and in the middle of the thruway and the median thruway and the sump, they couldn't get the cameras through, but they said that the thruway, and that's like a 30-foot manhole. That's
Deep.
about 30 feet.
It's a very deep manhole in the middle of the throughway median.
Right, and
Oh, that's right,
out
in the middle of the throughway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Is that a
that's-
problem with DOT and New York State Thruway Authority and?
Yes.
It will require coordination.
At which it's out of our expertise. You would hire a company that does that. They're gonna have to close down lanes. They're gonna have to do, it's gonna be a big process.
All right, well,
So-
that's gonna be obviously a phase 2 or 3 with the pump. I mean, if we wanna have that discussion, we're talking about that pump house and everything. That's a secondary issue outside of
That's
this
a
phase
whole
1
nother-
improvement.
Right, and the pump house is not not part of this.
All right, let's move on. So the first agenda item is a resolution of seeker negative declaration. The town board is designated as a lead agency in this project because we are executing it on our own property and we have the right to determine the seeker determination. And of course, these resolutions have some strict language. We won't go through it all, but the agenda number item 3 requires a full recital, but we'll just hit the highlights for you, so understanding. So in making the seeker determination, the town board has considered the criteria set forth in 617.7C of the seeker regulations and evaluated relevant areas of potential environmental concern to determine whether this action may have a significant adverse effect on the environment. The town board has reviewed the engineer's plan and report, the short environmental assessment form, part 1, and recommended parts 2 and 3 prepared by the project's professional consulting engineer, and all board members are familiar with the proposed project in the area. The project's professional engineer in his preparation of the EAF Part 2 advises that there will be no or small adverse environmental impact. After careful review, evaluation, and consideration, the town board is not aware of any evidence of any potential significant adverse environmental impacts that may be caused by this action. Accordingly, the board determines that this action will not cause any adverse environmental impact, and the seeker negative declaration is hereby issued and shall be filed in accordance with the seeker regulations. Let me just make the motion, we'll have another comment. So I'd like to make a motion to issue the seeker negative declaration. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, let's have a discussion. I just want to make clear that, so we talk about in-kind replacement, and we're talking about it in several things. One of the main determinations for the negative deck is that we're going to replace something that was already executed, correct? Meaning the pipe needs to be dug up from the standard that was put in the beginning. So we're not disturbing any adjacent property and land, flora, fauna, and other conditions.
Well, there's the
That's what
limited,
the,
there's
that's
the
what the
limited,
engineer has.
there's the limited disturbance of digging the trench to
Okay.
get to the pipe.
Well, I just was trying to
But the-
clarify that for the people online and in the
It's a
audience. That's what it
small or
means,
no
yeah.
impact.
It's a small or no
Small,
amount.
no,
and-
There's some impact.
and-
Yeah, we're not digging new trenches. We're just using the old ones and putting new pipes in.
Well, right,
Yeah.
we're redigging the trench, but the important
Right.
thing is that the outcome of this project is to improve
Improve,
the
right,
function of
absolutely.
the sewer plant
And protect
and
the
pro-
surrounding property around
exactly.
it.
So
Right.
the project in and of itself is a mitigation
Right.
effectively. So
For the environment
for the
as well,
environment in
yeah.
general.
Not
yeah.
only just the sewer.
It's, this is the part where
Okay, any
to use a
other?
medical analogy, to do surgery, you're gonna
Right.
wind up, you gotta cut through
Yeah, you
healthy
gotta
tissue,
cut
then
through,
you're gonna
yeah.
wind up with a
And
scar.
that's the reason why I brought that up. I just want to make it clear that
Absolutely. This is,
that's the reason for the negative deck. Of course, obviously, the engineer signed off on it and agrees, but I just wanted a little clarification for the audience.
yeah, and the only thing, and it doesn't affect this, but I just think that we should check, make sure that to answer to question 11 is correct. Will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater utilities? And the answer is no, but that's because this is a form that's written for, I want to build a,
Not wastewater facilities.
right, exactly.
Right, exactly.
So I think like I said, it doesn't affect this, but we should make sure that we Don't
Okay, any other
change that.
comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Is
Thank you.
Deirdre with us tonight
Deirdre,
electronically or?
Do we have to recite this?
well, not this one, the next one. We're just gonna,
Okay.
uh, okay, resolution, agenda item number 2. Resolution and order authorizing increase and improvement of facilities. So this one doesn't need a full recital. But this is an increase and improvement of facilities in the public interest and is authorized. All costs and expenses shall be a charge against district properties which are in the Hamlet Sewer District, for further clarification there, and nowhere else, and shall be assessed, levied, and collected in the same manner as other capital charges against district properties. Now, Amy, why is this, what is this is the authorization to increase the improvements, so we have to have that before we can get a ban, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to adopt a resolution, an order authorizing increase of improvement of facilities. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
This is-
Everybody's good?
This is us agreeing that we're gonna do the project that we
That's
need to
right,
do.
right. All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And finally, this is where the money comes into play. This is the town, this is a bond resolution for the Tuxedo Hamlet Sewer District improvements, and we could just set that up a little bit before we do the recital, so there's 2 ways to pay for this project. We take the money out of the liquid assets within the Sewer District LDC, knowing that we probably have a phase 2 problem to fix and maybe even a phase 3, so we think it's more responsible not to liquidate that, because then we would have to go back out to bond anyway, so we're gonna do an anticipation note first, which is where you set up if you need any additional funding for bonds on phase 2 or 3. That's your understanding, correct? Okay. All right,
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, sewers last a long
Right,
time.
they last a
It makes
long
sense
time.
to pay for them over time as they're being used.
but I think what I wanted to really say there was, we're protecting the sewer Hamlet customers a little bit too by not using the liquid assets right away, in case we run out of money and then they have to bear the cost. So we're trying to keep some money in the fund to keep it healthy, so we don't have to all of a sudden smack the residents or the customers in the district with a special assessment of some kind.
Correct.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna require to read this, right, Amy? It says recital. Okay. Whereas following preparation of a plan and report for improvement of facilities of Tuxedo Hamlet Sewer District, hereinafter called District, in the town of Tuxedo, hereinafter called the town, in the county of Orange, New York, including installation of approximately 4,700 linear feet of cast-in-place pipe and approximately 500 linear feet of open-cut sanitary sewer pipe, and rehabilitation of 32 manholes and necessary appurtenances. And after a public hearing duly called and held, the town board determined that it is in the public interest to so improve the facilities of the district, and ordered that such facilities be so improved. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the town board of the town of Tuxedo and the county of Orange, New York, by the favorable vote of not less than 2/3 of all the members of said board, as follows. Section 1, the town hereby appropriates the amount of $994,500 for the improvement of facilities of the district, all in accordance with the plan and estimate prepared by duly licensed engineers of the state of New York, on file in the office of the town clerk, and hereby approved. The estimated maximum cost of said specific object or purpose, including preliminary costs, costs of maps, plans, surveys, estimates, advertisements, legal documents, and costs incidental thereto, and the financing thereof, is $994,500. And the plan of financing includes the issuance of $994,500 serial bonds of the town, and the assessment levy and the principal of said bonds, and the interest thereon, so much upon and from each as shall be in just proportion to the amount of benefit which the improvement shall confer upon the same, and the establishment and collection of sewer rents pursuant to the town law to pay the principal of and interest on said bonds and the cost of operation, maintenance, and repairs. Would someone else like to take over on section 2, please?
Sure. Section 2, serial bonds of the town are hereby authorized to be issued in the principal amount of 994,500,000, sorry. 994, anyway, that number. 994,500,000.
994
Thank you.
million 500,000.
Good thing I don't do math for a minute.
Wait a
Pursuant to the
Says the
provisions of the
engineer.
local finance law
94,000.
constituting chapter 33A of the consolidated laws of the state of New York,
Is that even correct?
herein called the law.
That's not correct.
I don't
Stop.
think this is
It's a
correct.
period. It's a period. It's not a comma.
That,
994,500.
No.
And then there's, yeah, it's million.
This
That's
is
that's
wrong.
994 million.
incorrect.
I have to need to make a correction to the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Too many
catch.
zeros. No wonder why you couldn't get it right.
I was gonna say.
I was wondering, an engineer had a problem with the numbers.
Okay, good.
All right.
Look, I just saved us like,
Good thing,
like
good thing, Jay.
$900
Billion
billion.
Good thing we read it.
Go ahead.
The finance and appropriation. Section 3, the following additional matters are hereby determined and stated. A, the period of probable usefulness of the aforesaid specific object or purpose for which the bonds authorized by this resolution are to be issued within the limitations of section 11A.1 of the law is 40 years. B, current funds are not required by the law to be provided prior to the issuance of the bonds authorized by this resolution or any bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the sale of such bonds pursuant to the provisions of section 107.00D.4 of the law. C, proposed maturity of the bonds authorized by this resolution may exceed 5 years. D, the proceeds of the bond herein authorized and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds may be applied to reimburse the town for expenditures made after the effective date of this resolution for the purpose of which said bonds are authorized. The foregoing statement of intent with respect to reimbursement is made in conformity with Treasury Regulations Section 150-2 of the United States Treasury Department. Somebody else's turn.
Section 4, each of the bonds authorized by this resolution and any notes in anticipation thereof shall contain recital of validity prescribed by section 52.00 of the law, and said bonds and any notes issued in anticipation of said bonds shall be general obligations of the town, payable as to both principal and interest by general tax upon all the taxable real property within the town without limitation as to rate or amount. The faith and credit of the town are hereby irrevocable, why can't I say that word? Pledged to the punctual payment of the principal of and interest on said bonds, and provision shall be made in the budget of the town by appropriation for A, the amortization and redemption of the bonds to mature in each year, and B, the payment of interest to be due and payable in each year. Section 5. Subject to the provisions of this resolution and of the law and pursuant to the provisions of section 21.00 relative to the authorization of the issuance of bonds with substantially level or declining annual debt service and pursuant to the provisions of section 30.00 relative to the authorization of the issuance of bond anticipation notes or the renewals of said notes, and of section 50.00 and section 56.00 and 60.00 of the law, the powers and duties of the town board relative to authorizing bond anticipation notes and prescribing the terms, form, and contents as to the sale and issuance of the bonds herein authorized, and of any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds, and the renewals of said notes, and the relative to providing the substantially level or declining annual debt service are hereby delegated to the supervisor, the chief fiscal officer of the town.
Okay, Rick, you can take us home.
All right, wait a minute. This is like being in high school. I'm panicking when it goes around the room. Is it gonna be my turn? Deirdre, you wanna read? All right. The validity of the bond authorized by the resolution and of any bond anticipation note issued in anticipation of said bonds may be contested only if A, such obligation are authorized for an object or purpose of which the town is not authorized to expend money, or B, the provisions of the law which should be compiled with at the date of the publication of such resolution are not substantially compiled with, and an action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such publication, or C, such obligation are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Section 7, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Section 8, the object or purpose described in Section 1 hereof has been determined to be an unlisted action pursuant to the regulations of this New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, with respect to which said town board has made a negative declaration.
There's a lot of run-on sentences in there, aren't there? All right, with that, then I'd like to make a motion to approve a bond resolution for the Tuxedo Hamlet Sewer District improvements in the principal amount of $994,500. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions?
Oh, I,
Wait a minute,
Yeah, I
hope
was
not.
gonna-
How many- We got at least 4 of us, right?
Yeah.
No, I chimed in.
Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
good. Because it's gotta be at least.
yeah, you
Thirds.
voted yes, right?
Yeah, I voted
Okay.
yes, just to make sure. You need to take 4 of us to do that.
All right, thank you guys for bearing with us on that. That's one of those legal things that we have to accomplish on occasion, especially when it comes to something of that value.
I think we got, on page 8, there's one more thing we gotta pass.
Yeah. For the sewer?
Yeah, we got to, I'm gonna offer the following resolution, that resolved by the town board of the town of Tuxedo in the county of Orange, New York, as follows. Section 1, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the foregoing bond resolution in summary in the Times Herald Record, a newspaper published in Tuxedo, New York, and the official paper of said town, having general circulation therein, together with notice attached to it substantially the form as prescribed by section 81 of the local finance law of the state of New York, and this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Okay, thank
May I
you.
have a second?
Second.
We need to discuss it. I called a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Otherwise, you can't. How much number was that?
It was
the
actually
back one.
after, it just was a
Right here.
separate paragraph.
Oh,
before number
I got
4.
you. We just didn't follow through. Okay.
Yeah, it just stopped.
Thank you,
early.
Jay,
Read
for
everything.
picking that
Just-
up.
Just dot the i's.
You want to repeat that? You-
Repeat all after
uh,
section 1.
Okay. All right, item number 4. This is an increase to hourly wage for seasonal laborers, so I understand that. There was a 3% raise, that's standard, I guess, yearly. I guess that's what our pattern has been. This is $20 an hour for seasonal laborers. These would be new laborers, correct, Rob?
No.
It's all of them, but it'll be $20 an hour for seasonal laborers, but if you're already here and you got $30 an hour, you just get the 3% raise based on your current hourly rate.
They do not get the 3% raise. They're not entitled to anything that the rank and file or the union employees get. They're seasonal workers. So they have never gotten a 3% raise or anything other than what I've asked for in the past. And this was predicated on one person because he's been here, Bart LaBar's been here 9 years.
Okay, so
He's
you approve
working-
of the,
Yeah, a $4, I approve of a $4 raise to $24 an hour because the kid that started 3 weeks ago is getting the same amount of money as the guy that's been here for 9 years. Plus, the guy that's been here for 9 years started before we raised 2 other guys to full-time employees. So he's just looking for a little bit more, and maybe we can do that in a step program if we have seasonal employees that long again.
So you're looking for, other than what this
For a
agenda
$4
item?
raise for Bogey.
Say again?
For a $4 raise for Bogey. For Bart. That's it.
This goes kind of into what we had already kind of thought was, this was for new employees. We had assumed Bogey had received raises over the years, that his would have been different.
That's right, which he hasn't. He's been at the same rate for 9 years,
For how many years?
9. As long as
And
I've
what does he
been,
make, 20?
as long as I've been here, yeah.
Well, that's not right. I mean, if
Right,
there's other,
that's not right. Right.
but that
So-
doesn't fit.
So that doesn't fit
Right.
this. So here's the issue. Because I know, because I've been given raises, 2%, 3% a year since I've been on the board. We didn't realize, we, the board, previously, didn't realize that the seasonal workers weren't covered by the highway department contract.
Right.
So we gave a raise to all non-covered, all town employees not covered by collective bargaining, so not DP, not highway and not the police. Somehow, things got crossed up. We didn't, whatever. So this was trying to rectify that, because when we discussed this 2 weeks ago, we said, oh, we need to get the seasonal workers, we need to identify that they're supposed to get a raise. It sounds like we haven't gotten this quite right.
Well,
It doesn't.
to piggyback off of that, not only has the seasonal employee not gotten 3% or 2% raise when the town hall has gotten it, he also has not gotten it when the contracts have gotten it.
Right, because the
Because he's not
contract
covered by the
thinks he's on
contracts.
town hall, and town hall
So
thinks
he's
he's on the
getting
contract.
raises on either end of him, and he's not getting raises in the middle.
Right.
For the last several years.
Right, so my suggestion would be that we table this and figure out exactly what this resolution
Yeah,
should be.
well, obviously, the language of this particular resolution or agenda item doesn't fit or describe exactly what. So I would agree with you that we should table it.
Unless you think it's something that we can write on the floor.
Well, I don't
I'd like
know.
to
So
see-
hold on a
I'd like to
second.
see what is,
It does say starting pay is currently $20 an hour for seasonal labor. So
That's,
this particular thing says all employees not under contract receive a 3%. So now I see what you're talking about, Jay. Let's table it and let's bring a
Wait.
better resolution back to the board.
But wait, there's actually two situations going on here. This resolution still needs to get passed for future seasonal employees. That
Okay,
have
and
not, that
that's
position
a
has
good
not
point.
had a
So we can
raise
execute
in 9
this.
years.
And then we'll
And
come
they've
back
been
and
passed
we'll
on the
talk
last
about
2
that
to 3%.
particular
we'll
situation.
talk about longevity in a seasonal
Right,
worker.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's
Because-
been there 9 years. This is,
Because,
I mean-
ideally, seasonal workers are just that, seasonal workers.
well, do we need any more facts to?
And then
And
that's
it, and
that.
it, you're talking a 60-cent raise.
yeah,
So
no,
it's not like it's a 3% raise that is on a position that for the last 9 years has
Make
not
the motion.
got, I make a motion, we accept it.
Second,
that's fine. I have no objection to that.
I second.
But I'm.
No, it's just the position has been overlooked for 9 years and it's a 60-cent raise. I believe we should make that.
I don't think that's the point. Wait, I think isn't the point that there's one employee that has not been getting raises and should be dealt with separately? And then
And
we
that's
all.
what we're doing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we're doing,
That's what
Deirdre.
do.
Yep. We
Okay.
just voted on this resolution to
But-
fix the position starting pay. And then
Okay,
that
Then that
employee
guy
will be
will be
another issue
separate.
at another time.
Now,
Okay.
let's just get through this. Well, we're still in discussion, so,
Then what I'd say with this is, let's make sure, come the end of the year when we're doing budgeting and reorg, that we remember that we gotta
right.
name the seasonal
this is a
workers, when we're
reorg.
giving everybody a raise.
And that other
How did
thing
you
which-
arrive at 24 for Bogey? Just by base it on 3% over 9 years?
That's something we're gonna have to discuss.
Just inquiring.
Not here.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the other thing I'm gonna say is we need to also discuss with Michael Richardson, because now we're talking about having different classes of employees, and there's a whole nother level of complication there. I'm not saying we
Well,
shouldn't do
but
it.
My
we just
point
need to
is
make
that
sure
this
the language is
establishes
right.
a 20-hour starting pay.
Yes,
All employees that are not collective bargaining get a 3% in the 2024 budget. Then you have to going back in time for 9 years, what would we have to calculate those
That's
raises?
something we'll
All right,
do.
let's just get through this agenda item and then we'll come back and
Yours?
we'll investigate that, Rob, and we'll absolutely make,
We'll talk.
okay. All right, you
Just
made,
make
them-
it-
any
you can
more
always make it
discussion?
Retroactive or something like
Right,
that.
any more discussion?
I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Deirdre? Aye, okay, thank you. All right, agenda item number 5, resolution authorizing the advertisement to solicit for a grant writer.
Want me to read this or no? This is your report, this
Yeah,
side?
I scratched out the, just go with the monthly. I went
Okay,
back to the-
gotcha, yep.
Thank you.
Guys,
Yes, Paul, yes.
Okay, that's fine. So we talked about this in the last meeting where, I think we all agree that we would really love to have a really good grant writer and take the pressure off the taxpayers a little bit, try to get us some good money, and it goes across the board for not only vehicles, but also for infrastructure. We could possibly get some money to help us in the sewer district. There's a million.
Lots of grants out.
Yeah, there's lots of grants out there. There's DASNY grants out there. There's New York Swims. There's all kinds of things that are happening. We just don't have anyone in place right now that's good at doing grant writers. So this will allow us to go out and solicit for a grant writer. So I'm gonna make the motion that we authorize the advertisement to solicit for a grant writer. Do I have a
Second.
Second, all in favor, discussion, any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're done with the agenda item. Now we'll come to
Wait,
some,
wait, sorry. I got an agenda item 6 on the agenda, but not in the packet.
So I moved that down, the order changed, so you're gonna go into executive.
Yeah, executive session at the end.
At the end.
right,
Got it.
yeah, I just wanted to move executive session to the end so people in the audience didn't have to wait for us to come back. so.
Understood.
All right, so discussion item came up relatively recently since, and I actually was engaged in it, but Rick, since you actually worked it, can you go ahead and explain what the security issue is for the town hall?
All right, we've learned that the current security system here at the town hall is inoperable. There's no panic alarms, there's no cameras, there's no security system. Back in September of last year, a bid was put out to try to secure the system. And for one reason or another, it didn't happen. So because of emergency circumstances with the state of the nation and a recent attack on a judge, it was brought to our attention of the current system and the way it is, and we feel that it needs to be rectified sooner than later. So we had a company come in from the area to give a bid. The bid came in significantly less than the previous bid, and it's going to include 5 cameras, 17 panic buttons, a alarm system on the back door, alarm system on the front door, motion sensors throughout the first and second floors. So if somebody happened to come in a window, you're going to get the motion as opposed to a break alarm on each window. So you're getting the motions once it comes in. That's pretty much it.
Do you have the quote?
I have the quote. It's $15,000 for the.
Okay, so that's under $20,000 for service procurement, so under emergency scope, we can approve a motion to approve.
And it was checked with the auditors and the criteria fits an emergency situation. It's as long as it's done within a 3-week period and it's under the $20,000 and it's for personal safety and security,
And
if it's
we
the
would-
quote.
We would tap the ARPA funds for that, so it wouldn't come out of general.
I have a question.
Yes,
So if we were to get the grant that we applied for this particular system, which is supposed to be happening in January, can we still, if we get awarded that money, can we use that money towards this?
yeah, well,
The grant that we could utilize, this is only for the interior of the building. The quote that was done in September that the grant was going to apply to was the cameras on the exterior of the building, cameras at the train station and other locations. So the grant would
Oh.
still be able to be utilized for all other camera systems throughout the town
Okay.
of Tuxedo.
yeah,
This would
I
only
think
be
I
covering the
also-
emergency circumstance for the panic buttons at designated locations and the alarm systems for the doors and motion sensors and cameras inside.
So
Yeah,
the grant didn't include the interior of the town hall then?
It did, but we're breaking it into two phases. We're taking the emergency that needs to be done now for the
Right.
safety of the employees. And then the part two is for the outside camera system and for the train station and that, which the grant could be applied to.
So I'm just for clarity. So if the grant, because my understanding is they're very specific when they tell you what you can spend the money on. So if the grant comes in and they says that we can spend the money on the interior, could we then spend it on something on the exterior? Or
Yeah.
could we,
That's what we're hoping to do is the grant on the outside and the grant for the interior and exterior of the train station.
okay, I
Which
just wanna
was
make
like
sure
an
that we
extra
go.
30,000 or something dollars.
Well, if the grant was for 100 grand.
No, the
The application.
camera systems for that. The
Yeah.
entire thing broken down was,
That also included highway too, didn't it?
well, that's
Yeah.
another phase for the fuel
Right.
pumps and broken down into phases, yes.
Okay,
And yes, I believe that this would fall under a legitimate project for ARPA funding.
Yes, absolutely. This emergency project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All yours.
So I make them
I'll second.
install the security system for the town hall.
Okay.
I second.
Deirdre seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and finally, we have or no, I guess we have three. So 6-week yoga chair program, I guess we had offered that. I guess it was started off with the seniors, but it's really a wider scope, I guess. It's for anybody in the town. Is that what it is? I guess
It's generally for the seniors. It's a 6-week chair yoga program. It will be on January 24th, January 31st, February 7th, February 14th, February 21st, and March 6th. It is at the town hall at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays, I think it is. Do you know, Marissa?
That's
And
Wednesdays.
it's the
Yep.
entire program to pay for the coach to come in. We're looking at $300 for it's Wednesdays at 1 o'clock at the town hall. So it'd be $300. I make a motion that we accept a 6-week chair yoga program.
Second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, update on the police station, which has changed in scope.
Want to do this or?
Yeah, go ahead, because you're the one that put it together.
All right, I met with the chief of police and who had to leave for a call, but chief of police and Sean Hoffman today. We went over the Route 17 side of the building, the side that we discussed at the last meeting. And there was mold that was remediated right away. So that was taken care of. However, it never was repaired. So the sheetrock was all taken out, insulation was all taken out. Mold was sprayed and did whatever to get rid of it, but then we never put it back together. So we looked at that and Sean got some number ideas and would like to go to an RFP on the situation. So I would like to make a motion that we approve Sean to go and draw up an RFP to get the repairs done to the Route 17 side of the building.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion?
Do we have an idea of cost yet?
He does not. That's what he would like to get. He doesn't think it's gonna be over the criteria. So that would be a $35,000 threshold because of the repairs. He feels it's gonna be significantly less than that. But he's gonna get a ballpark of what it is and then, we'll send out the RFPs and do what we have to do from there.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to put together a budget estimate based on.
yeah,
the
we just met
RFPs
today
and-
at 10
Yeah.
o'clock this morning.
Of
and
course.
whatever. So I would just like to give him the authorization to move forward on it.
Did anybody second? You made a resolution.
I made the motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to make it legal.
Make it legal. Now we can
And
talk about it.
vote on it,
Or
yes.
lawful. Where's,
Yeah, all of
I'm
them.
good.
Good, all right. Then we have,
Wait, I'm sorry.
We had-
Do we have an ayes for everybody?
We actually have to call the question, right?
Yeah.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's enough.
4-0.
All right.
Yeah.
He's absent, so he's.
Dave
next.
abstains,
So,
abstains.
there is one other item, just to be discussed, the Park Mobile app. We did contact Park Mobile from the last meeting. They gave us the tool to check the license plates of who is supposed to be there and who's not supposed to be there. It is a link that the police department was able to use through their cell phones to pull up the plates. They did enforce the law and issue approximately 20 violations Friday when we got the link. So that was just one day's worth of violations. So we are attempting, I know Marissa has made a couple contacts. I made one today and have not gotten called back. We're trying to find a better process than putting it into your, clicking on a link and password and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
There should be a connection to the current license plate readers in the cars that they should be able to read or something. It is an ongoing project that we are still trying to streamline or make it, more user-friendly so we can enforce those violations.
Just as a side question, it's always been Park Mobile. I mean, it hasn't obviously, but in recent memory, it's always been Park Mobile. If we're not getting enough love from them, I'm sure they got a competitor.
Yeah, well,
Maybe they don't.
within 2 weeks, we got the link. We wrote some summonses. We're being progressive. And hopefully we could realize that, we just got this on Friday
Mhm.
and realized the link
Progress is
isn't
showing.
really enforcement quality. It's good to know. You can put it in your phone and say, hey, there's these cars, but it's not really streamlined. So we're gonna try to streamline that a little better. So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have a better solution. But enforcement has picked up.
Thank you.
Marissa. Did we didn't appoint animal dog
No,
control?
we
We're
gotta
gonna
talk
do
about
that
that.
after.
Oh, it's in there. Okay.
That was my
All right.
question.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Rick, on that?
We got monthly reports that the chief I know has left me and these guys.
Yeah, we're in receipt of,
I do want to bring one thing up about the pump station. I had a meeting there with Sean, the DEC, and Chris, the building inspector, about how to mitigate the high water levels. And Sean, I believe, is getting back to us, maybe not, with something that Jay had suggested.
oh, the mafia block.
Can't say
Oh,
that. Can't say that anymore.
I know.
Can't say that.
Then we
Concrete blocks.
Right, massive
Then-
concrete
then-
blocks.
We discussed the concrete blocks, which the DEC officials said would not be a problem if we wanted to do it that way. So, that we can do in-house, we would do it. The other part would be, that would probably be RFP, that would go out.
So that's the solution that you showed Rick and I, that where the eddy forms in by the road there. And it acts as a diversionary wall instead
Right,
of building it around the pump house proper.
Build a 4-foot wall along the river's edge, so to speak, but not on the edge. And back it up with tailings or something that we have. So that it's at least when the river tries to push the blocks, they're not gonna move. And then that would be a temporary measure till we decide, are we putting 2 new pump houses in? Are we changing? Who knows? Sean has a lot of visions.
It'll get us into a next budget year.
What's that?
It'll get us to the next budget year that we can figure out what we're doing.
It'll get us.
Do you
it'd be like a
like that
5-year
idea?
fix or
Yeah.
A fix until we have to do something.
A temporary wall of some kind, whether it's concrete blocks or sandbags or something, will solve our immediate problem.
Except in a 100-year flood situation.
Well,
Right.
in a 100-year flood as well. I mean, it depends on, yes, right. I mean, I guess we'd have to get up about 5 or 6 feet to be,
Yeah. So-
but it'll be better. We don't,
Yeah, with the weather we've been having,
With
it's
the
something
weather
that
we
would
have.
definitely get in between, right?
back to I. I mean, at the pump station, which is close to the river, the
Right.
pump pits are open and at ground level.
Right.
So at the last big storm, we were inches from pumping river water
And
through
that,
the sewer plant.
that kind of segues into like phase 3 or 4, where if we could move the sanitary sewer line to the west side of the tracks, then we could get rid of that pump station, move it up higher. So that's a whole nother
We'd
discussion,
have to,
but,
we'd have to do something with the East Village
Yeah.
line. So yes, we could reconfigure all of that, which would be, you know, a pile of money.
right,
We could build a more permanent wall around the existing pump station, which would be a smaller pile of money.
Mhm.
There are any number
we
of
could get
options.
an infrastructure grant.
We quite possibly could. There are lots of grants available for sewer
Right.
improvements. But the short answer is we need to keep the river out of the pumps, so.
Exactly.
So a temporary wall and is, whatever it looks like is a great first step.
Right, well, temporary wall is, I'll get numbers on what the blocks would cost. Right, because we want to do that, technically you want to point them in between, keep the river water out. So then you make it a permanent like dike type thing, but it's temporary.
Right.
And then in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, when our ship comes in, so to speak, and we have no more pump house there, you can always take them up and move them,
Right.
take it out. It's not a
Okay.
permanent thing that has to be.
Makes sense,
Right.
absolutely. Okay, then, you said you got the police monthly report, right?
Yeah, he gave me.
Okay, Rick is in receipt of the police report, I'm in receipt of the justice court and the town clerk's report. That takes us to minutes. Everybody reviewed the minutes? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the regular bi-monthly town board meeting held on January 8th, 2024. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, vouchers are next. Let's see, I'd like to make a motion to approve the vouchers number 201-2922-716 through 201-2922-787, and also includes 201-2922-665 and 201-292-2688, which were previously pulled on the last voucher run and now are back in. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then that brings us to public comments. Start with Jerry.
Dave, as far as you're concerned about the post office parking lot, I talked to Christine, postmaster, and she says, give her a contact person and a contact number, and it will be passed through the pipeline again. Originally, when they came down and put the new gravel in, she was wondering if the town was going through and having it done. But since there is no contact point at that point,
Okay,
it ended that spot.
okay, then the person who I'm contacting?
Christine, postmaster, Tuxedo. Christine Fuge, F-U-G-E.
Okay, got it. Post office. Thank you, Jerry. Anything else? Dale?
Two things. I have a question about the remediation at the train station. That wasn't included in the renovation work that was recently done? Or supposed to be included?
Remediation in regards to,
The dealing with the mold but not putting it back together, part of it?
oh, you're talking about, that might be some punch list items left over, is it?
I think
That we
that's the
haven't
po-
approached?
I think they're talking about the police station.
Oh, that was the police
mold,
station.
yes, that was
Yeah.
the police station, sorry. I was like, we just spent money on doing that train station, we got mold now?
There are
Yeah.
still some, but to follow up on that, there are still some punch list items
Yeah.
in the train station project.
Yeah.
There's some paint that needs to
Yeah,
be
paint on the
cleaned
glass
up.
or
We
something, right? And
spoke to
there's-
Sean Hoffman today, the punch list has been 100% fixed. However, there is still paint that needs to be scratched off the
That's always-
windows. And there is a seam, large seam that runs across the Route 17 side. He's aware of it, and it will follow up with the company that did the work and make sure they get back and fix it. The one window was fixed though, that was broken.
Good.
He confirmed today that that has been fixed. And the paint still needs to be scraped off of those 6 window panes. And he was supposed to find a seam that needed to be sealed today. But I gave him the wrong side of the building to look at. It was on the other side of the building. So I took pictures, sent it to him, and he will get it addressed.
Okay, good.
But the company did say the punch list was complete. And I believe they were paid, so they will come back and they will fix it. Because it is the same people that are doing the sewer system, so.
Yeah.
If they
One way-
weren't there,
one way or
9
another,
owners
better,
or whatever.
right? Anything else, Dale?
Yes. So at long last, the Tuxedo Chamber of Commerce is trying to get reactive, and we are hoping to have our first meeting March 14th, I think it is, a Thursday. And we'd like to ask permission to have that in the community room at the train station.
Okay, and I mean, I heard about that this morning. You know, the Chamber of Commerce does a lot in this area, and I know that we have a policy that we have a fee schedule, but I'd be in favor of waiving that for the Chamber of Commerce meeting, so we could actually approve that for you. And just get you a key, and you can do whatever you'd like in there. And thank you for absolutely bringing that Chamber of Commerce back. It's really a critical component of its success.
And if the town would like to have a certificate of insurance, we are happy to
And
provide.
I'm sure that, you know, probably gonna have to have something like that, but I just wanted to, and of course, is everybody in agreement, Deirdre?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that whatever
so
the
we don't even
usual-
need to have a resolution for that. We're just
What
gonna
time?
say we'll give you.
Probably 6:30.
You're
And then the
covered under our
frequency-
insurance, by the way. They're covered under our insurance.
So, what's the frequency of the meetings? Not that it matters, I just was wondering.
Well, we don't quite know yet.
Okay.
We were not holding them monthly before COVID, so I'm not quite sure what the frequency will be. We are also making an effort to try to do joint meetings with neighboring
That would be great.
chambers.
Business corridor type
Right.
meetings, yeah, that'd be great to restore those.
Yeah.
For sure. Glad we could help you out there. That's a really important mission, Chamber of Commerce. I'm glad to see that you're reviving it, by the way. Thank you for that. Any other public comments? How about out on the web? Michelle,
Hi, everybody.
hi.
So I had received an email from Dave asking for a report about the action items the Climate Smart Community and Clean Energy Community Committee has achieved so far. And I would like to see when I could present that report to the board. If you could look at the calendar, the next meeting would be February 12th.
Michelle,
Would
would it
that-
be okay if we were to consume the report before you gave the presentation?
Sure.
Okay, if you could send it to the board. You have it ready and prepared to go?
Well, I am meeting on Wednesday with the NYSERDA Clean Energy Coordinator. And at that point in time, I'm going to make sure that all the points we've achieved so far are in the system, if she needs any more documentation, and also to go over a lot of the new opportunities we have for points that just came out a few weeks ago. And I think I did tell you about some of those.
Yes, you did. Mhm.
Yeah, and so I just want to go over those with her to see exactly what we need to do. Obviously, it's a team effort and the town board has to make the decision to go forward with the actions. And so I'll put that all together for you as to what the actions are and how we have to document our action.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, if we could just take a look at it before we present.
Yeah. The other thing is, I also sent you an email because Jewel Community Power, that is our administrator for the Community Choice Aggregation Program for electricity purchasing. They said that they're gonna have an update by the end of January. We've been waiting for the market to improve so that we could move forward with that program. The electricity market has just been too unsettled over the last year, so we weren't able to do it. But they see a window. And so hopefully we'll be able to get that going in the next few months.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it for me.
Thanks, Michelle. Anybody else online?
I just, before we close and go into executive, I'd just like to thank Rob, you and your guys for the last couple snowstorms. Out there making the roads clean and clear. You guys really out doing a good job.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. It's appreciated.
That's what they do.
Any more comments from,
Looks like we got
the
some.
web?
I think it's Evelyn David. Evelyn David.
I don't see any hands up.
It's
If
hidden
you
under
want
the-
to make a comment, unmute yourself.
It's hidden under the record indicator.
It's Evelyn David. I'm on.
Hey, good evening. It's Evelyn David. I did raise my hand. You can't.
Oh,
So the question
it's hidden.
actually is, hi, did you
Hi.
see the storm? Hi, how are you?
good, Evelyn.
Hello?
Go ahead, we hear you.
Oh, okay, great. A question about the river question, about cleaning the river down, Tuxedo River, the Ramapo where we are is clean. If a tree falls down, I make a noise about it and, you know, it's cleaned up. Highway department goes in and cleans it. Sloatsburg, completely different story. Does anybody know how to, and the rest of the Ramapo going downstream, all that junk in the river backs us up. So even if it's, you know, the water's down a foot because they've cleaned the water, that's huge.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
I agree
Yeah.
with you, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
what that contact looks like. I mean,
I can ask their DPW chief to.
yeah, that definitely
what
would be.
they would be willing to do. I'm sure they, as of this point ever, I've never seen them clean anything out of the river. Not Morgan.
No.
I mean, are they
Um,
even allowed to without like a permit or, I mean, if a tree's down, I get it,
You
but.
would need DEC
Yeah.
approval, sure.
Mhm.
But if there's a tree laying in the river, they can, but, yeah, I could put a bug in his ear.
Okay, Evelyn,
if you go-
highway superintendent's
if
gonna
you're-
check
if
it
you're-
out for you.
Okay, great. I mean, obviously it's on Sloatsburg. They got all flooded down there, and I started immediately thinking about the time I saw all this debris in the river and nobody was cleaning it. Okay, so anyway, that's just one little issue. There's a couple of dams down the river. Also, I talked to the DEC about that. And they're actually going to look into that. They're dams that are non-functioning anymore. They're attached to buildings that supplied electricity. They're not functioning anymore. So anyway, those are just my comments and worries future, because
you very
you're talking
much,
about
Evelyn.
hundreds. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
We'll get
Okay,
back to
bye-bye.
you on that. I still have
Okay,
your
thank
phone
you.
number. I'll call you.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else out there online? Doesn't look like it. Rob, before we go, do you have any updates you'd like to
Well,
give?
well, like Rick says, we're plowing snow. When we have the time, we're trimming trees on Beckman Meadow. We are in full strength with our trucks. You're gonna see
Good to hear.
but you're gonna see a bill you're not gonna like, but it is what it is. I put 110 hours into the truck to repair it and rebuild the harness and put a new fuse box in and what
That's an
have you.
18-year-old truck, right?
Yeah, but we need it.
Yeah,
It's-
no, you need
it's
it.
a frontline plow, so. Anyway, we just got that back, so we're at full strength. That's moving along. Tree work, run around picking up Christmas trees when we can. That's kind of coming to an end. There is a Christmas tree bonfire this week, next week?
27th, yeah.
27th coming up. So, that and checking drains, checking,
Well, like Rick said, thank you for everything that you and your department does for the town of Tuxedo. Much appreciated.
yeah, no problem. What's that?
Marissa, did you have anything? I didn't know whether
Nothing.
you're good. Okay.
Okay, well,
Go ahead, Dale.
What's the story with electronics recycling?
oh, We are doing electronic cycling all year,
Nice.
What are the hours that you can drop off?
7 to 3:30, Monday to Friday. You can walk it in if you feel so inclined on the weekends.
Oh, you can.
No TVs, no monitor, old-fashioned monitors.
What
That, flat screens
What you
only.
want to, there's
Yeah, have the,
No, I mean, it's just his number
the
of
old-fashioned.
arrests,
what you make
tubes.
the monitor, yeah, tubes.
No
Tubes are out.
Go ahead.
Okay.
He's got a big butt.
Okay, and I guess, we're making an effort to try to get some visibility into our other departments too, so. Just so we can share, the results of their hard work as well. So Rick is gonna give you some statistics from our police report this past.
Chief Terzino left this for me. Before he left, he had a call he had to go out to. They had one arrest for the month so far. I mean, it's, 22nd? One case, it's a misdemeanor case, 122, traffic tickets and 12 traffic accidents. They responded on January 9th to a school lockdown at the school. PD was on scene in under 1 minute. The lockdown ended up being a malfunction of a new system they put in. And it wasn't an actual threat, but the button went off accidentally. But they were on scene within a minute.
So it works.
It works.
Okay,
That's
great
his
news.
report.
Thanks, Rick.
One last thing.
Yes,
The sinkhole in Southfields, which
Ah,
seems to
good
be a
point.
big concern. I called the DEC several times. The engineers were supposed to be out there today. It is a pipe from the DEC catch basin, a corrugated metal pipe that the top has rotted away, collapsed, what have you. And all the dirt is getting sucked through that pipe, which left a void, and then the asphalt broke. So you have that large crater.
sure.
They wanted to fill it today with gravel, and I stopped them because the DOT has to inspect that first. They put gravel in it, they're not gonna see what the cause of the sinkhole is. It's just gonna be like Pete has been doing for the last 20 years, just throwing stuff on it. So the DOT, the engineers were supposed to be down today. I will follow up with them tomorrow to see how they made out. And if so, then Pete will have Stallmakers were gonna put the gravel in, so
Okay,
I imagine, if they say it's okay to do, I'll let them do it. If not, because that's something they're gonna have to dig up and fix.
okay. So that's gonna be the DOT's cost.
It's a DOT.
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
that's good.
It's a
And again,
DOT.
thank you with that, Rob. You were on scene within an hour after we were notified. Made a call to you. You were there. You advised me within an hour of the situation. And it was on private property. They were already looking to remedy it, but we had them held off
Oh,
because
today?
we have to get it, fixed by DOT first, so.
They at least have to see it.
Yep.
And then you can, I don't know if they wanna.
Before someone falls in it, they have to come take a look, right?
Right.
How were we notified?
I'm sorry?
How were we notified?
We were notified through social media.
Yeah, we
We
didn't
were
get it
notified
direct.
or we noticed it?
We were
We
notified.
noticed it.
Somebody through Messenger messaged me and said, this is a hazard, how are we taking care of it? So then,
Truth be told, we knew about it when it happened.
yeah,
But we just monitored it because it is on private property and it isn't our.
it is on private property and it is a responsibility of New York State DOT. So it's not technically our issue, but we did address it and we did make the proper contacts to the people that need to fix it, so.
The DOT might come up with a different version of, well, the pipe's under private property, so it's their responsibility. But let's see where that goes. They like to deflect. So we'll see where that goes. So.
Cool.
Okay, all right. With that, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of personnel and appointments. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that will be at 8:16. Okay.
Dave, will you be making any resolutions when you come back? Hello?
Sorry, yes.
Yes?
Yes, Mary, we are expected to make
Go ahead.
resolutions when we get back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Deirdre, are you with us?
Yep. Sorry, Dave.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to come out of executive session at 9:08. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's like we have three motions to get through here. First one will be, no to this one. Planning board appointments. So I'm gonna make a motion that we reappoint,
Oh, never mind. You're good.
where we reappoint John Banyo to a term on the planning board and then appoint him as chairman for a period of 1 year. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But just to clarify, it's a full 5-year term.
Yeah, it's 5-year
1 year
term with a
as
1 year
chair.
chairman appointment. Planning board, John Ruel. As a member of the planning board, this is not an alternate position, this is a full member of the planning board. This is to replace, is this for a full term or is this
Yes.
Full term.
it's 5 years? All right, John Ruel, I'm gonna make a motion to appoint John Ruel to the planning board as a full voting member for a full term of 5 years, beginning effectively immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, I'm gonna make a motion to appoint James Corse. Do I have that name right?
CARSE.
Carse, James Carse. And how long will the term be?
1 year.
Okay, make a motion to appoint James Carse to a 1 year term as a planning board alternate. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have it right here. Okay. Next, we'll move to the ZBA. I'd like to make a motion, what's her name? Sharon. Sharon, what's Sharon's last name? Radeloff? Okay. I'd like a motion to reappoint Sharon Radeloff to let's see, what's that? It's gonna be a full term of 5 years on the zoning board?
Yes.
Okay. As a full voting member, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to appoint Maria May as a full voting member of the ZBA. Term to expire 2027. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to appoint Peter Dolan as an alternate member of the planning board for a term.
BZA.
Sorry,
ZBA.
ZBA, yeah, thank you, Jay. For a
Chris.
period of, let's see, this is zoning board.
1
So
year.
1 year. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sustain.
What?
I sustain.
Abstain.
Abstain. Thank you.
Sorry.
All
I got a
right.
bad accent, sorry.
All right, next. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dave Makish to the role of Building Inspector 3 for 32 hours a week, part-time with no benefits at the rate of $48 an hour, effective February 12th. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay. I can't believe I'm doing this.
All right, and then finally, we have a resolution for, what was that? You can go ahead and take that one if you'd like.
All right, this is to appoint an animal dog control officer. Whereas the town is in need of filling the open position of a part-time animal dog control officer, and whereas the town has received an application, received pre-approval from Orange County Civil Service for John A. Trezino. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board appoints John A. Trezino as part-time animal control officer effective date?
Immediately.
Immediately?
January 23rd, 2024. Civil Service number 1020, non-competitive, budget code Alpha 3510.1 for $8,221. May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? We just want to talk about the duties?
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so the dog control officer will be answering to the chief of police. We talked about the salary, right?
Yep.
$8,000 something dollars. He will be coming in as the chief designates to work with the town clerk to find out licensing, any legal dog actions that need to be addressed, any dog bites or anything along those lines. As well as in his job description from civil service, he has latitude to do other details, which I don't have off the top of my head, but one of which specifically is to issue parking summonses, and another is for like traffic control and stuff like that.
Right, he can be the traffic officer, and he can fill the same role as the traffic guards that we have previously hired, like to help with
Correct.
Ren Fair.
But as this title, he can't make any more than 8,000
I believe.
whatever.
At like the crossing guard duty?
Yep, he has that same.
Yeah,
he
it's
can do the same.
it's traffic control.
So if for some reason we decide that in the crosswalks by Route 17 Schoolhouse Road, we want to put a traffic guard, he could do that.
Okay.
If, we want him to assist with, lines being put up in, a power line or something, and we need somebody to sit with lights on and to do traffic, he can do that.
Oh,
But he
perfect.
cannot go over the salary stated in the description. So we have to be careful because $8,000 gets spent rather
It
quickly.
does.
And the chief has the discretion to schedule him as needed to come in and do his duties as well as call outs. So if he's not working
And if-
and they come across a loose dog and needs to be transported to the Warwick Humane Society, they can call him in, he could capture the dog. And I believe they had like tranquilizers and stuff like that he needs training for. Isn't that what,
The state will come and, just
yeah, so they have means not other than just the dog pole. He has the tranquilizer gun and stuff he has to get training on, and, so he'd be able to take care of vicious dogs and stuff like that. and
Okay,
remove
good.
them.
That's required.
This is something that's been required by New York State. He sent us numerous letters saying that we were not compliant and they were threatening fines and.
Oh, the State
things.
Department of Agriculture. I was just gonna
Correct,
say that
yeah.
next. We probably need to reply and send them a copy of the resolution. Okay.
Yeah, so this was a reaction to those letters that we were receiving from them.
Although has been the opinion of council that assigning the duties to the police department covered us. We haven't been just ignoring it.
Okay. Yeah, they still were sending us the letters.
Of course they were.
So I would say you're still covered if you have the job posting out there and no one answers it, right?
Right, probably.
They probably
And
can't
this
find you.
applicant was the only person that,
Yeah.
applied for the position.
So we discussed this in session, but this is the chief of
Yes,
police's
you want me to speak
son.
about that? Yeah.
Can you just put that on the record for us?
Yeah, okay, so it is the chief of police son, same name, John Trezino. We did speak to the Association of Towns in regards to possible nepotism, and this does not fit the criteria. The chief is in charge of his scheduling, and that's as far as it goes. We set the salary, we set his contract and stuff like that, so it does not meet the criteria. So we did check with, council, and they did say it was not even remotely close to being nepotism.
Okay.
Excellent. The only other thing that I'll mention, we have a dog control officer vehicle. I'm not sure its state of repair. It
Yeah.
hasn't been.
Oh,
called,
yeah, it's
so-
pretty.
It is at the
down.
highway and it is not really usable. When I was at the town police department today with Sean, looking at the building, When they get they got the new Tahoes last year in November. When they do hit the road, that's gonna take one of the older cars off the road. We'll probably look at to take that and to convert that into some sort of a dog control vehicle to.
It can't be a
able to-
car, it has to be a truck.
It can, but you have to fit the back out, like, so we could have some carpentry work done to it to be able to transport dogs
Right.
and stuff
My
like that.
understanding was that beyond being in disrepair, our previous vehicle no longer meets requirements.
The old dog control,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, that one it's pretty old.
So anyway,
So
just
we would
some,
have to work on, and the car that's being taken out from PD is over 200,000 miles, so it's not like it's a good vehicle either. So we're replacing something that is in bad shape with something that's in bad shape, so there may be something down the road we need to worry about, but right now we can make it work.
right.
All right.
That's your
Okay.
motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that
We lost
takes, I thought I saw, Mary, did you have a question or you just hit your hand by accident?
No. Wait a minute. No,
You
I
had your
can't.
hand up there, I didn't,
I know.
Uh,
No, I did have a question, but you answered it.
okay, thank you. All right, any other business? Jay? No,
Thank you.
No.
anybody? Okay, then we're at the adjournment. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:20 PM. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right.
Marissa? Report. Thank you.
Thank you, Deirdre.